We have a 138 o'clock.
Let's try this again now. Coming to you live from a remote cottage in the Northern Kingdom. I am Sportcat. This is the Paranormal Guyz, and I am, as you can tell, not in my normal location. So, everything's good. I'm just, yes, Lonnie, thank you. I'm just a little stressed right now. Things are running behind, but we got it going. Let's see. I got Shay here, and I got Amanda here, but most importantly, ladies, we have our guest, Bjorn. Did I say it right? I'm sorry.
Yep, Bjorn. Yep.
Bjorn.
Well, welcome to the show. Like I said, I'm going to probably hide in the background and not do much talking. So, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Get us started off.
Yeah, Bjorn Leesson. I'm your average guy here in South Carolina. Have a normal job, but I like to write stories. Lots and lots of interest. One of them's supernatural, the paranormal things, beyond our understanding. And that played a lot into the series I'm writing right now. I'm sorry, what happened? I think it broke up.
Oh, you were saying the paranormal, and I was like, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, but the series I'm writing is about a young Viking warrior woman that was born in Scandinavia in the Viking age. She turns out to be a fantastic warrior, but she's a little out of the ordinary because she's not your stereotypical blonde-haired, blue-eyed Viking woman. She's tan-skinned and black hair and green eyes. She's half Moor and half Scandinavian. So that's the beginning of her oddity, if you want to call it that. But also she's born with a supernatural power within her. And it turns out she spends her whole life struggling to control it. And as she goes through life, there's omens, there's visions, there's, if you want to call it, intervention from beyond the veil that tells her this power is put in her on purpose, and it was for battling the dark that wishes to overcome the living world. So that's kind of it in a nutshell without giving too much away. But the fascination I have with the paranormal plays a lot into the story. So that half the story is based on that interest alone. So that's why I'm here today, because I know you guys are into that too. So
just a little bit.
you can do so much with the paranormal aspect in writing as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's uncharted more or less. We don't understand it. That's why it's a mystery. So yeah, you
can kind of make it up as you go along too.
Right. And you can add in your own experiences if you have them. I used to actually dabble in investigating the paranormal at one time, many years ago. I didn't do it long, but I did try it.
Right.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was great fun. I met a lot of good people, but unfortunately, me, myself, and I never found anything that I could point at and say that was absolutely, without doubt, paranormal.
Right.
But a lot of things did happen that I just simply can't explain. I just can't come right out and say that was absolutely a ghost or that was absolutely a spirit, anything like that. But it was a blast when I was doing it. It was fun.
Very cool. Very cool. What led you down the path of writing your own book?
I've always liked writing, always have. It was always nonfiction before. I love history. That's my other big passion is history. So Civil War history, Viking history, a lot of the things that tie into my background. And over time, I started putting together just little ideas I had that weren't, tying in the fascination with history and tying in my creative side at the same time. And over a span of probably a year, maybe, I came up with this character, Mariel the Dokkrsdottir, and that's the protagonist in the book series I'm writing. And started just throwing everything I enjoy. I just started throwing it in the story, basically, and made a nice little neat package. And
Glad I'm not the only one that does that. I'm like, well, I think this is cool, so I'm gonna put that there, and I'm gonna put this
Oh, yeah.
here.
Right.
well, that's the great part about creative writing. You can do that. I mean, you can take whatever you want, and as long as you're good at knitting, you can
Yeah.
knit it all together into a good story, right?
Pretty much.
That's awesome. And the name of your book is?
The first book in the series is called Runes of the Dokkrsdottir. The second book is Rune of Renewal. Those two are out now. They're on Amazon. The official series launch will be September 24th. That'll be with the third book in the series called Runes of Destiny. And not to give too much away, but it's kind of out there already with reviews and whatnot, that it's not solely contained to the Viking Age. It spills over into several different eras of history. So it
Okay.
you gotta have a pretty open mind. If you're looking for strictly Viking, then yes, first book and a couple of the later books that haven't come out yet, they will probably be right up your alley. But if you open up your mind a little bit more, you'll be in a lot of other areas too.
So we have some time travel?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not. It's not like Star Trek type time travel. It's paranormal time travel. So y'all like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, but you reel the Vikings in there in the beginning, and then they like the story, so they're like, all right, well, I've started here, now I gotta finish it.
Yeah, the idea is to set the hook on Mariel.
Yeah.
She's an awesome character. She's very endearing. I spend a lot of time on character development with writing, so you get to like her, you get to love her, and then she's snatched out of her familiar background and her setting, and she's somewhere else now. But you've already invested in her, so okay, let's see what happens here. So that's the idea behind it. Yeah,
I'm sure she still kicks ass.
Oh yeah, yeah. And she's not the only one. There's several. They always say when you write a story, you shouldn't focus on more than 7 characters.
Mm-hmm.
I broke that rule big time. There's lots and lots and lots of characters. They're all unique and different. A lot of them are very strong female characters, which I don't know why. I just always have liked strong female characters in stories. Just always have. So naturally, when I wrote my story, a lot of the main characters are just, as you said, kick-ass females. So it's enjoyable. It's different, and yeah.
That's awesome.
And that is why I
I
surround
know
myself by kick-ass females. So.
Exactly.
Amanda will take them off the top rope, and I'll give a really good knee to the nutsack.
Drop some elbows on them.
Whatever it takes.
She gets them down on the ground, and I hit them while they're down.
There we go.
There you
I
go.
put them in that
Exactly.
camel clutch, and you kick them in the face. We got this.
Everybody, watch out.
Yeah.
Sportcat, are you glad you're in Vermont right now?
No, because I'm trapped up here with my wife, and it was a 16-hour commute to get here from. Well, no, it was longer than that. It's about a 22-hour commute to get here. So.
And she's got to deal with the girls that are on the border of each other too. So that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Gosh,
exactly.
That's a long drive.
I wouldn't want to be in a vehicle with myself for 16 hours.
No.
My limit used to be I could go 8 hours in one shot. I don't even think I could do that anymore. I think I don't leave at all now. But I mean, when I did travel 8 hours, that was it. 16 is a long time.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I had to break it up. Did it in 3 days because there was no way coming from Atlanta.
Oh, okay. That makes more. Now I'm on board with you. That makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah.
8 hours in one shot ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and then we got this Bigfoot cottage up here, and I was like, well, I want to be out in the woods checking things out. It gets dark. It's in the Northern Kingdom. It is dark. So
Yes.
Very true.
I did 16 hours at once with a 2-year-old.
oh, I'm so sorry.
I gave him a
And-
camera.
And half of that trip was bathroom breaks.
Most likely, yes.
He loved Disney World though. It was great.
So
I'm curious, in where you're talking about you have so many characters through the book. What part of yourself did you like put into Mary?
That's the fun part. I put like I tell a lot of people, I put a little bit of me in every character, so all of them have a little sprinkle. Plus, everybody I've ever known in life, there's always. Another one of my another one of my little interests is psychology, sociology, just studying people and how they act and their behaviors and the little tics people have. So, of course, I've known a lot of strange people in my time working in manufacturing. So I've always able to take little bits of those craziness and stick them in some characters. It was just fun stitching it all together, but it made some unique characters, and it made them, and they're all very different. There's a lot of depth, and of course, I'm biased. I wrote it, but it's a very fun read. And I think a lot of people will find what they like about it. It's not geared towards one segment, I don't think, of readership. It's spills into several genres. I've seen it called historical fiction fantasy. It's been called just fantasy, just fiction, historical fiction, women's fiction. It's been called all kinds of things. So it's kind of tells me there that it's like life. Life is everything. It's not just one thing. It's everything. So that's kind of what I was shooting for. A little bit of reality.
It's awesome to have a strong woman in that time period because you don't see that a lot.
Well, that actually is an interesting story because where Mariel first started to form was, one from my genealogy, from my Scandinavian heritage, but also in England in, I think, the 60s or 70s, they found a burial mound of a Viking warrior. They didn't really examine the remains closely back then because it was common knowledge a Viking warrior is a man. So why really investigate the particulars of this body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Recently, within the last, I think, maybe 6-7 years, they went back and examined the bones again, and lo and behold, it was not a man, it was a female. And she was buried with grave goods and swords, and she was killed by a sword slash to the head. So the manner of her burial indicated she was a chieftain, or a jarl, as they called them. She was a chieftain. Wow. So she was held in high regard, and obviously was a great warrior if all these, Viking men were following her into battle. So that all that just kind of really fascinated me. I'm like,
yeah,
it's always fun when history, we have a preconception of history, and then all of a sudden something pops up and it's completely different. It's like, wow,
yes.
Okay, that was a 180.
Well, that happens a lot more than we think too.
Oh, absolutely. And that goes with the paranormal thing, like Bigfoot. A lot of people, I mean, you guys know this, of course, but I mean, people kind of, if you indicate that you believe there's something to it, you kind of get that look, there's something wrong with you. Yes. You believe in big. No, but the thing is, it's happened way too frequently. There's all the Native American lore behind it. And if you dig deep enough into any lore anywhere, there's some truth to it. There's fact in there somewhere. Plus, you've got all the credible people that have seen things. I mean, you can't just assume that these thousands and thousands of people are nuts. I mean, there's something to it. What is it? Is it actually a big ape man that's left? I don't know, but there's something. There's something there. So it makes sense to me.
There's too much proof.
Right. I mean, there's just too much to it just to discount it. That's arrogant, in my opinion. That's humans believing we know everything we probably know less than 1% of the universe, but we want to believe we know more than that.
Yes.
So I'm preaching to the choir, I know.
How long did it take you to publish your first book, to put it all together and get the very first one out? Is that years, months?
Actually, I started, if you count the very first scribblings of Mariel, constructing the Mariel character and going into an idea of what she's going to do, it was from then till now, which I am currently writing books 7 and 8 in the series. And it's been 2 years. So roughly every 3 months or so, I was able to manufacture a book. Now, they're not all released yet, of course. That takes longer, but the writing part, yeah.
Wow,
so
that's
been kind of rapid fire.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It seems pretty darn quick to me.
Well, like I told my editor that I hired, Andrea, I said, because she said the same thing. She said that's awfully fast, but she was happy with them. You know, they were good. They were just fast. I said, well, I sometimes have trouble keeping my focus on things. So as long as I have focus, I'm just going to keep the hammer down until I lose focus. And so far, I haven't. It's been 2 years and going on 8 books. So I mean, I'm just going to keep rolling until I run out of steam. So
I don't blame you one bit.
You're enjoying it. You're having fun. Absolutely. You know, we interview all kinds of authors, and the shortest I've ever heard is one lady said that she had a dream, and her entire dream was the first novel. And then from there, she carried it on. And I was like, that's incredible. And then I've heard others say, well, it's been most of my life. You know, we're talking 20, 30 years. So that's good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like I say, I'm going to ride this train till it stops.
Well, you meet so many interesting people. You have interesting experiences that happen, or like even dreams. I've taken ideas from dreams that I've had.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
You just start making the puzzle out of everything.
I think it's safe to say, I don't know this scientifically, but I think it's safe to say that your mind is most creative probably when you're asleep, because there are no rules. I mean, your mind's just running wild doing what it wants to do. So that's a perfect time to come up with wild and crazy things to write down.
If only you could just remember it a little bit better than.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right?
The part, yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Usually 5 minutes after being awake, I forgot everything, but
I've probably made it out of bed into the bathroom, and I was like, dang it, already forgot it.
Whoever invents the machine that can record dreams, that's gonna be the game changer. Whenever they
That'll
can do
be the
that.
future.
Oh yeah.
Elon, are you listening? So
Yeah.
CBS.
He'll make you subscribe to it, but I mean, hey, it's there.
Exactly. $2.99 a month, you can have every dream you want.
The premium plan, 2 dreams a night.
That's right.
Do I get to pick which ones, or are you just going to send me random ones? Or
That's the platinum package, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So what kind of paranormal stories have you got that you were weaving in there?
Really, it's more creative paranormal thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't had a lot of experiences myself. I mean, but what is interesting, I can't say this for a fact. My mother, who's passed away, and my aunt, who's still alive, they were both sensitive to it. I'm almost positive they were. My mom didn't really like to talk about it. She wasn't that kind of person, but I know after my father passed away, I took her. Well, I grew up around Charleston, South Carolina, and I took her downtown just to kind of take her into the city. She grew up there, you know. I just took her down there, and we went on a little walking tour of the city and all to get her mind off everything. We went to the Provost Dungeon, the old Provost Dungeon in Charleston, which is a really old building from the colonial period, and they've got little animatronic men that tell the story about the Revolutionary War and things like that. And I'm standing there, and I see her fidgeting off to my side, and I keep looking at her, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? No, I didn't say anything, but the little animatronic show finishes, and she goes, we got to get the hell out of here, she says. I said, what's wrong? She goes, let's go. So, all right. So we walked outside. So what was wrong? I just had to get out of there. Now, keeping that in mind, the Provost Dungeon in Charleston is supposed to be one of the most haunted places in the city, allegedly.
Okay.
So there was that. And then the episode repeated after my paternal grandfather passed away. We went to Wisconsin to go to the, take care, see the family and everything up there. And we were in my grandfather's workshop. And I had heard from my niece that she saw him after he passed away. She saw him in the house. I didn't see him. But that was on a different trip. But when my mom and I went into his old workshop, which was almost where he lived, he stayed in his workshop and tinkered with stuff. He was a tinkerer. That's what he did. But when we went in there, Mom repeated the same thing. She started that fidgeting and all. And she said, I got to go outside. She goes outside. So that kind of led me to believe, I think she's sensing stuff that I'm not, Mm-hmm. And I talked to my aunt, her youngest sister, she's a lot younger than her. And I told her about that. And my aunt said, that's because she's sensitive to it. So am I. I said, really? I never heard this before. I said, well, what do you mean? And she said to her, it felt like a cold weight sitting on her head is how she described it when something was around. So I'm pretty sure I'm not sensitive to it. I've never picked up anything, but I believe it is. I believe people are, and I believe there is things out there that people pick up on, and I believe they both had it. So that was just cool. That didn't make it into the stories. I just kind of went into a little bit of a rant about that, but it almost makes me jealous. I kind of want to experience some stuff like that. It's mysterious. I want to see what's going on. I want to know what's out there.
It's different. It's different for sure.
Are any of you guys sensitive to stuff, or
a little bit?
Yeah.
I kind of think I might be a little bit. As a matter of fact, on this trip up here, we stopped. My wife wanted to go to all these different crystal shops, and so I didn't think we'd ever get here. And we were in one, and this feeling, just sudden depression, heaviness just came. It was so thick. I was like, I almost had to bail out of there. I was like, what is this? And then I noticed after some people left, it started clearing. And so the lady behind the counter, I said, I'm just going to ask you. I said, did you feel anything? And she's like, yeah, there was some bad energy in here. And I'm like, okay, that was pretty strong because I don't normally experience it, but I felt it like come on me. It was cold, it was heavy, it was dark, and it was just very powerful. So yeah, I have actually now can say I've had that experience. So
yeah, I pick up more on like the energy. You can feel when the energy is off.
It's been all the women in my family.
Yeah.
And I think if any women in my family had felt that, I feel like my family would be the ones that like wouldn't say anything about it.
Yeah. My family has said very little.
Where I'm I would consider myself more the black sheep of the family. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's me.
That's funny.
Where are the
I
ghosts?
just have the stories that have been passed down, and I know from the stories that have been passed down that they've seen things and felt things. Yeah.
So it makes you wonder sometimes if it's the maternal instinct too,
Mm-hmm.
Either that or guys are just don't want to admit stuff. Either or.
I think you're probably right.
It's even like my color blindness. It's very rare for a female to be colorblind, and your mother has to have a trace of it for you to be colorblind. And then once a female is colorblind, all of her children are colorblind. So it may even be something like that with just the female and how it's passed down. Just like
very well be,
you said your mom, your aunt. I think it could be stronger with females.
I think that's likely. I just think that females are naturally a little more perceptive than men about things beyond just the obvious that's in front of us. I know that sounds strange the way I'm saying it, but I think it's there.
It makes sense.
I think it's there.
Maybe I feel like maybe us as women are a little bit more to be like,
My husband never wants to admit it, but he's seen things.
Like I saw. Did you see that? No, I saw something.
Hmm.
One nice thing I'm finding is so many more people are opening up now and coming out talking about the paranormal stuff. I don't know if
That's
it's because
becoming more
it's
acceptable. Yeah.
or it's exactly. It's like used to you didn't talk about UFOs, and now
Right.
it seems like you're always finding out about that on the news that the government saw something. So yeah, it's just more openness coming out. So it makes
Yeah.
you wonder if they're hiding it.
What with UFOs? I'm very scientifically minded in most cases. It's it's hard to scientifically come right out and say that there are no other life forms, no other intelligent life in the universe. I mean, how ridiculous does that sound? I mean,
Agreed.
we have found 14,000 other planets out there. I mean, that's only happened in the last 20 years.
Well,
And
shoot,
you're
if we can't even fully like look at the depths of our own ocean,
yep.
then
Right.
Mhm.
how are we gonna know everything about?
The
I mean,
whole universe.
we got a whole side of our moon we can't see from, we can't see it unless we send a ship over there to look at it. So, I mean, what
Mhm.
we don't, like I said earlier in the show, we know about 1% of what we think we know.
Oh yeah. I mean, even the
Agreed.
size of the Earth is like 1% of the universe.
Right. So, I mean, it's a good time to be on the fringe, I guess, if you want to say, those of us that believe in the outside of the normal, paranormal, supernatural. It's kind of a good time because science is finally catching up to what we've kind of already instinctively knew. Our reptile brains already knew this stuff, and now science is starting to catch up to it. So it's
Well, and
pretty cool.
people aren't as worried anymore too. I think about other people looking at them like they're crazy.
Right.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You don't gotta. You don't necessarily have to be worried about getting locked up in a psych ward nowadays for talking about it.
Yes.
Right. I mean, they make so many movies about it. I mean, obviously, there's enough out there that there's some level of acceptance, right? I mean, it's starting to happen. So yeah.
Do you think in any of your books you will start leading them more in a paranormal or space travel or any type of way like that?
The latest ones I'm writing now don't deal as much with the paranormal. The first three was heavily laden with Mariel's power and the supernatural. The veil, I keep calling it in the book series. It's beyond the veil. There's entities beyond the veil that influence the living world, and that's the greater battle that she's involved in. And it's kind of like any story. You boil it down, it's good versus evil if you boil it down far enough. It's the same thing, but there's a whole lot of gray areas in this book. There's a lot of characters that are quote unquote good guys, but they don't necessarily always do good things. And then there's ones that you might consider bad guys that actually end up serving the good with what they do. And it was all preordained. There's a I guess you could call it the one being, God, however you want to phrase it, that is behind it all. But this entity is suspiciously vacant from the whole story. You don't ever hear from this entity, but everybody's working on behalf of one side or the other. And I'm kind of cloaking a little bit. I don't want to give a lot of the story away, but
Sure.
but the first three definitely are very heavily veiled with the supernatural. Uh, there are since I'm sitting here with some ghost fans as well, there are some ghosts in it. It's not a lot and not for long, but it's very important and pivotal what does happen with these spirits. So it's very interesting. Plus, book 3, there's a lot more of it. So
Is she by chance visited by Christmas, past, present, and future?
oh no, that doesn't happen.
A girl can hope.
Maybe in the future.
They would come take all my Christmas gifts away. So,
I'd be the one
Yeah.
visited by Krampus. So getting
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you're getting put in the sack, and then you're getting put in the little snow globe on the shelf.
oh yeah.
But at least you're none the wiser.
was Was there any artists or authors or anyone that has kind of influenced you in any way, or maybe your writing style? Or
I think there's nothing that heavily influenced the books. I don't think. It was mainly just all my interest in my brain and everybody I've ever met thrown together. But if you wanted to kind of wrap it up in a wrapping of what people would probably know about it, be like imagine Game of Thrones, the TV show Vikings, mixed together, and that's maybe with a little J.R.R. Tolkien thrown in, Lord of the Rings. If you kind of mix all
nice.
that up into a little and put a veneer over my story, I guess it makes sense. But no, not anything specific. I don't think. No, it's like I said, it's just a little bit of everything thrown into a story that I feel I've pretty compellingly weaved together into an interesting backdrop. So
Very cool.
I would
Did you
certainly
base
say
one
so.
character like on your mom specifically from her experience and seeing how she acted with the fidgeting and everything?
no, I don't. Not
No?
yet. No, I'm
Yeah.
not done with the story either. But no, not
Yeah.
yet. Not yet. But
with
there is a
the
character that named Ingrid. She's another major character in the series. She's Mariel's best friend. Ends up being her best friend, and she's kind of almost Mariel's babysitter because Mariel's very high energy, very impulsive, doesn't like rules. Does what she wants, but she's got this
Nice.
important
My
destiny.
kind of
So,
gal.
Yep.
but of course, she's got this destiny that she needs to realize. So there's a lot of guiding. It takes dozens of entities and people to guide her on this journey because she keeps wanting to go all over the place. But Ingrid's integral in helping her keep her on the center path. But Ingrid comes from a family called the Stone Splitters in Scandinavia, and they all have foresight, the power of foresight. So they have future thoughts of things. Hers is different. She has an uncle that's named Oren. Oren is described as half in the living world, half in the other world. So he's very cryptic, very, very strange. People find it hard to connect with him because it's almost like he's not all the way here. Ingrid's is a lot different. Hers is more gut feelings. She has gut feelings about things like she'll
Oh,
kind of.
so she's a witch.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say that.
She's a fairy godmother.
Yeah, but she has some power. So it's not just Burial. There's the Stone Splitters as well, and then in the third book, there's another character. I won't give too much away because that book hasn't come out yet. But there's another character that has powers as well that I won't go into.
Nice.
But she also has powers, so it does pop up quite a bit, actually. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
with
How
your
long did the
history. Oh, I was just going to ask, with his history background, how much of that are you weaving out that's actual fact in there?
A lot of it is. Now, I do make up a lot of names and places. Now, of course, Norway exists. I mean, a lot of the major geographical areas exist, but like the town names, I kind of made up some of them. Some of when you get into further into the series and you're not in Viking Age anymore, and I'll leave it at that. When you're not in the Viking Age anymore, a lot of those characters are based on actual historical characters. And a lot of the events that happen are based on actual events. So I kind of had to, that's the other cool thing about history. There's just enough opening to where you can kind of make your own, history to be added into actual history without violating actual history, if that makes any sense the way I just said that. But
absolutely?
there's always enough wiggle room that you can kind of craft your own story behind the story. And it's not,
Well, it's just that fine line, and you've just got to figure out as how close you can get to it.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Nice.
But I was interested in I mean, I obviously haven't read any of the books yet, so I don't know. But like the language, I presume that you use in it is historically accurate.
Yeah, the names, that this is where the marketing lady that I hired to help me get the books out there in front of people. You know, we talked about audiobooks. There are fairly inexpensive ways to do audiobooks. The problem is my characters aren't named Mikey, Debbie, Bobby, and Martha, so it butchers the names up badly. You know, AI, it's AI, so they don't like Mariol. That's how you pronounce it. It's Myrgjol. That's the Scandinavian spelling for Mariol, but it says Mergial. You know, it does things like that. So,
What you do is you just take small voice clips where you have recorded each of the names, and then as the horrible AI is reading it, it's just Ariel, and then it continues reading.
Right. Well, the other way to do it, this time consuming, is spell it phonetically. Just spell it out phonetically, and it'll try to pronounce it and hope it works. But that's one kind of, I guess, if you want to call it a drawback. I tried to be as accurate as I could. I didn't want to call a Viking warrior. I didn't want to call him Matthew. I mean, that obviously wouldn't.
Bob.
Right, Bob. Yeah, come here, Bob. So I gave him actual historically scant Norse names, but it trips people up because they're not used to that. That's not something you commonly see. You know, like people that you like with Scottish or Irish, that's a lot more common here. You know, Scottish and Irish, you know, Colin and McElroy. I mean, people can kind of put those together. But when you're talking about Dokkrsdottir, which is Dokkrsdottir, you know, people don't have no idea what that is or how you say that. So I kind of created my own problem with that, but I didn't want to deviate. I wanted to keep it the way it was supposed to be, and from a historical standpoint.
And they'll start doing what I do with most books. If I'm trying to get it read quickly and I have a problem with a name, I have now just given that person a made-up name that I will now remember throughout the whole book.
Right.
I do that on TV shows.
Yeah, Lisa.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's an inside joke from another show we do on a CBS reality TV show. I could never remember the girl's name, so I'm like, she's Lisa.
Well, it was 4 letters, so it was fine.
It was close. It was close.
The I and the A were in the same place, so that's what mattered.
Exactly.
I worked with a guy that called everyone Billy because he couldn't remember his name, so everybody was Billy. We had a whole plant full of Billies.
It's funny.
Gosh.
It's funny. In my phone for people I work with, I have to have it labeled Sarah in parentheses, not Ashley, and then has Ashley in parentheses, not Sarah, because Sarah looks like an Ashley and Ashley looks like a Sarah, so I have to be like,
gosh.
That sounds more confusing.
Right?
no. So now I know. So now I hear, yeah, this is Ashley. Okay, you call her Sarah. This one is Ashley. I always have to stop. I always have to stop myself for a minute.
I used to get really upset with my husband because we would be walking through a store and he'd say, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" And it's because he can't remember the women's names who know him, where he worked out in public for so long.
I would get shot. I just want to be on the record. I would get shot.
No, you don't call her baby. You can call her sweetheart or hun, but that's as much as it gets.
Depending on what part of the country, and you may get schooled on the new verbiage or whatever they call these words.
Yes.
Well, one thing about your books that fascinates me is Norse. I've just started reading and learning a lot about it. I understand that some of my background is Norse, and so it's very fascinating to me how in North America we don't know as much as we think we do about that.
No, that's a fact. You're right. It pops up in a few times in the book as well that about the exploration aspect, and this comes back to human arrogance that we talked about before, and we think we know more than we really do. It was always in the Norse weren't very good at writing down anything. They had Norse runes. They had an alphabet system made out of line runes, but the runes themselves were hard to understand because there was 3 different meanings. It was a number, a letter, a word, or a thought. So actually 4, and probably more than that. So when you run across these runes, it could mean 4 things. I mean, you just kind of make a wild guess at what they're trying to express. And they didn't do it a lot. I mean, it was all passed down. It was all lore. It was all oral lore. And they called them sagas. Now, when Scandinavia Christianized and the monks started recording these stories, because, you know, that the Christian monks love writing stuff down, which is good for us because now we know hundreds of years later what was said. But when they were writing them down, they did their best to write it faithfully to the oral stories that were told. And in the oral stories, saga of the Greenlanders, saga of the Icelanders, they made it to North America. Now, they didn't call it North America. They didn't call it United States. I mean, obviously, but everything they described, they made it here. And for years and years and years and years, mainstream archaeologists say they didn't get past Greenland, which they knew the settlements were there because the remains are still there. They know they were still there, and the place names are still there. But think about what we're describing. We're describing a group of people that were in their time, they were the greatest seafarers in the world. They had the best ships. Their ships were shallow draft. They could go across the ocean and up rivers at the same time. Nobody else had ships that could do that. They either were river ships or they were ocean ships. They couldn't do both. Theirs could. Mm-hmm. And they traveled from Norway and Sweden and Denmark all the way across the North Atlantic and made it to Greenland, which was, you know, basically next door to where we're all sitting right now, more or less. And to have the idea that they just stopped there. Okay, we're good. That's far we go. Draw a line in the ocean. We're not going any farther than this. So that's kind of silly, don't you think? And they were in Greenland for 500 years. That's something that a lot of people don't know. They were there. Eric Erdman founded it roughly around 1000 or late 900s, and the settlements didn't fail until 1500. So you're talking 500 years that they were there. Why would anybody believe they didn't make it to North America? But now they found Lanso Meadows in Nova Scotia. So, okay, now they've pushed that boundary even more. Now there's some evidence. I don't know if you guys keep up with, there's a TV show called The Money Pit on Oak Island. Oak Island's the name of the show. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Where they're looking for the treasure, right? It's supposed
I was going to say
to be.
It's like The Secret or The Secret Treasure of Oak Island. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
But they're starting to find Viking artifacts there. I remember when the show first started, I knew about the story about Oak Island from before the show started. I knew some about it. Me and the wife started watching the show, and I said, they were debating who built this treasure pit. Was it the Spanish? Was it the Viking or the Templars? Was it the Spanish or English or French? I mean, and they had all these theories, pirates. And I told her, I said, I'll guarantee you they will find a little bit of all of those on that island. And I bet Vikings will turn up too. And lo and behold, in the last few seasons, they started finding Viking artifacts, stuff that was not carbon dated, but it was chemically analyzed, lead, and they traced it back to the sources in Scandinavia and Norway. So there again, they have moved further south. Now they're in probably on Nova Scotia. How far is that from Maine? I mean, you can almost see Maine from Nova Scotia, I believe. Mm-hmm. So
pretty much, yeah. Stone's throw.
Yeah. So I mean, and you know, in relation to what we're talking about here, from a greater, higher viewpoint, that goes to everything. I mean, that goes to the ghosts we've been talking about. That goes to the idea there's extraterrestrials. All this stuff. I mean, we keep wanting to box ourselves in based on what we think we found so far. And I think that's self-defeating. All we're doing is robbing ourselves of our own knowledge that we could have, you know, keep an open mind.
Absolutely. Someone in the chat asked if you had read the story of the Smoky God. I'm not familiar with that. So
I am not sure what that is. I haven't heard of that either.
Yeah. Me either.
Enlighten us, salty dog.
I'll have to Google for later.
Okay, so they're digging up Viking artifacts now, but
Mhm.
yet they still haven't found the treasure.
I have my theory is it's not there anymore. I think something was there, and if it was the Templars, I'm not even gonna go out on a limb and say I think it is. I don't know who did it. Probably, like I said before, it's probably several cultures over hundreds of years that were all doing things on this island. It wasn't just one group that did one thing and that's what they're looking for. But I think over time, especially if it is something that there is an organization that still exists that was linked to this thing done originally, why would they have not moved it by now after people have been trying to dig it up for 200 years? I mean, there are decades in between attempts. If they knew how to access this thing and they knew what was in there was that important, they would have come and got it already. So
We forgot where it was.
I lean towards there's nothing there now. I think there was, but I don't think there is anymore.
Yeah, I have
I've
to
had
agree with you on that one.
I've had several friends that have been on shows like Finding Bigfoot and things like Finding the Treasure, and the producers don't want them to find it because, well, that's the end of the series. So
Yeah, that's another big part of it. Absolutely. Yep. You got to keep them. You got to keep those sponsors happy for seasons and seasons, right?
exactly. Now, I looked up the Smoky God, and it's a 1908 book about a voyage of the inner earth by a Norwegian sailor. So I need to check on that one. That one sounds interesting.
I assume we're talking about Hollow Earth, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
another
so-
thing I've looked into. I don't know that I believe it, but I've looked into it, and it is fascinating to read about it.
Exactly. And then you have the people that talk about, well, we don't know about all of the earth, that it's actually a larger earth than we've been allowed to. I don't know if I go that far, but like
Yeah.
I said, I don't like to box myself into a corner on these things.
I did have a great grandfather that believed in Hollow Earth, and he actually did write a book about it. So
Oh,
I always found it
really?
interesting.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't necessarily believe it myself. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I think it's possible. I just don't think it's likely. But you never know. I mean, all this other stuff's going on, so who's to say? You know.
I will just always lean towards the point that if there is a hollow earth, that's where we find Godzilla, and that's where we find the Megalodon.
And
The only
living
explanation.
dinosaurs.
Salty Dog said he was just about to explain it, so he'd have probably done a better job. Well, it sounds as if you said a grandfather wrote a book. This is in your blood now, so
I didn't find out about that until well after I started all my own little looking into stuff, you know. But I found that I thought that was interesting. He was an interesting guy too, from what I've read. So
that's pretty cool. Maybe you could take some of his story and interweave it with your own. That would be kind of cool.
might be a future series. Yeah. Once I burn this one out of me, I might move on to this one. Then one.
Exactly. Well, we don't want to keep you all night, but one thing we want to make sure our guests get plenty of airtime so they can tell everybody where they can find them, where you can find your books, how to interact if you interact with your fans. So tell us about that.
I'm on Facebook. Now I'm going to admit right now that my technological knowledge stopped in 2000. So I'm now trying to catch up 24 years later. I'm trying to reintroduce myself to all this stuff. But I do have a Facebook account, Bjorn Leesson. You'll know it immediately. It'll have all my book covers on it when you get there. So you'll see it. But the books are available on Amazon. And I made kind of a hub website that connects you to everything. It's called Thalsparr.com. It's THALSPARR.com. And the series is called Outside the Thalsparr. It's everything can be connected from there pretty much.
Okay. And when was the release date of the next book?
The next book is September 24th, and that'll be we're treating it as the release of the series, even though the first two are already out. But this is kind of my marketing lady I hired. She's kind of making a big deal as a series, with this release. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be enjoyable.
Okay. You're going to go to book tour?
If I ever get the time. I still work full time, and I'm writing this series. And I got my little farm here. I got a little mini farm I take care of, so I pretty much don't sleep.
Hey, how do you fit all this stuff
Yeah.
in?
Yeah.
Well, we would love to have you back to talk about all of your stuff in the future. If you could fit time for us in there, we would
Oh,
love
absolutely. I'd like to get more into some more supernatural stuff. That and less about the books and more about the supernatural. It's it's a fascinating topic. It really is. As long as you
It
have an
is.
open mind, it's endless possibilities because we don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, Salty Dog asked about the appearance of the emerald tablets. So we've got some homework. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah,
next.
see, I'm not sure on that one yet, but
I'm intrigued.
And Rock Solid said, "Great appearance. Appreciates your time." And next time he wants to know more about the farm.
the farm. I have goats, chickens, guinea birds. We used to have turkeys, pigs, and donkeys also, but we had to thin everything out a little bit because it was getting to be too much to handle. But
That's a lot.
I love donkeys.
That's a lot.
the
Yeah.
donkeys were fun. They were fun. They were
Yeah.
obviously stubborn, but they were fun.
They're good to keep the coyotes away from everything else.
Yeah, they were there to protect the goats.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, interesting.
They'll
Well,
kick them.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
They're
maybe
great
out
to
of
have
some
around.
of your farmland, you can look around and see if you see any signs of Bigfoot for us.
Yeah.
'Cause you never know. You never know.
We have one here. It's pushing our trees over like crazy. It's insane. We're so tired of cutting up trees.
You hadn't have made him mad.
I know. I mowed on the river. He's mad.
I was gonna say, Amanda, you can't set the story up and not tell our guests about it. So
Yeah. I mowed along the river. We live on the Kentucky River, and apparently I upset him. And there was a big group of trees, and apparently he just walked along and pushed them right over. And now we have all these trees to cut up in this one little group. I mean, it's just a huge pile of trees, like 4 or 5 trees. And all the roots are together. It pushed them up from the roots. And
What-
we already had trees down from a windstorm. And I'm
What'd you do? What'd you do to upset them?
I mowed
Mowed.
along the river, I think.
Oh,
I think that totally upset him because I let it grown up and then I went down there and we cleared trees and mowed. And I think that might have been his little area, to
Oh.
hang out in. And I'm like, I
It's like
had to
a,
mow.
it's like a cat. Whenever you clean their litter box, they just get real
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
that was his
Stop knocking over
bathhouse.
my trees.
So,
I say you cleaned up his litter box, and now he's mad.
Yes. Like, no, stop knocking over my trees. I like my trees.
well, he's gonna come knock on your door one day. That'll scare you to death. So.
That'll be fine. Just
Seems-
leave my trees alone.
seems like I've always heard they like to throw rocks. Is that something you've had to experience?
I have personally
no.
had that experience twice. We
Yeah.
were camping in a very remote location, and from on top of the cliff, something started throwing pea gravel down on us. And the strangest thing was there was no pea gravel around, so it had to have come from a river and been brought up above where we were, and it was being thrown down. We came out of our tents, and it was like raining down on us. I'm like, okay, well, owls and raccoons and squirrels, they don't do that type of
No.
thing.
No, they don't toss rocks. Not that I've seen.
No, and then we had one night, this pretty good sized rock just come almost like out of nowhere, almost like it appeared and landed perfectly in the middle of the campfire. And of course, when it hit the campfire, just all the embers and everything went up. So that was kind of scary because we hadn't heard, seen nothing, and then just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this pretty good sized rock. So yeah, it's
Definitely an attention getter. Would be for me.
yeah. Well, I think they're all around us, and we just don't know it. So
Yes. I got hit in the head with a walnut while mowing. He hates for me to mow. I have to mow.
What? Okay, you're gonna have to do a show on that alone. So
It was right in the center of my skull too. It was terrible. Terrible.
gracious. Amanda surprises me every show with something new. I hadn't heard this story. So.
We have a 0 turn. I came flying up on the mower. I was like, I got hit in the head with a walnut.
Well, sir, I don't want to keep you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for putting up with our shenanigans. And
Oh no, I enjoyed this. This was fun. It's good to talk about all kind of stuff. It's interesting.
we venture off on shiny paths all the time. So, if you're ever in need of an artist, Miss Cheyenne there, she is awesome at that stuff. So she can hook you up too. So,
Oh, good. I might be contacting you then.
All right.
all right,
Yes.
sir. We have a great night. We appreciate it, and make sure Cheyenne, or probably Cheyenne because I'm remote, has all the places that we can find you. So we'll get it in the comments when I get real internet.
I'll do that.
All right. Have a great night, sir. Thank
All right,
you.
y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. That was great.
Very
Salty dog, I bite hard too. Don't you
Oh.
forget it.
He's a little afraid of Amanda. Aren't we all a little afraid of Amanda?
The red hair is a warning sign. That's
Back off.
That's yeah. And Salty Dog said he's also crushing hard on you tonight. So you're gonna have to. You'll
he
have to
doesn't crush
after
on Trey.
our next guest, Eric, is backstage. I see him. You'll have to take a few moments and explain your new antler, your new rack.
Oh,
I'll
fair.
leave it at that. See, for all the fans, you have a little bit of a treat for the after show that won't make it out on FM. So,
Oh boy.
all right, yeah, I'll just turn the chat loose on you, Shay.
Thanks.
All right, well, let's see. Eric is backstage.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey,
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are y'all?
good.
Fabulous.
Great. You're a traveling man. I know we've been chatting back and forth for months, and you said last time I remember chatting with you about you were going to be landing tonight in another town and trying to hurry to get in and get to the show.
Yeah, I mean, I travel all the time. It's not really anything different, but this time I was gone about 3 months. So I just got back to Mobile, Alabama today, and so it's not
Alabama boy.
home in a while. Yep, South Alabama,
That's awesome. So where all have you been?
where there is
months?
no normal. Everything's paranormal,
Right.
Fair. Very fair.
That's very true.
or at least unusual. I don't know if I'd call it paranormal, but non-normal anyway.
That's very true. So where all have you been the past few months?
Oh man, everywhere. Nashville, Albuquerque, Seattle, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Charlotte, North Carolina, South Carolina.
So everywhere.
There are a lot of
Yeah,
places. West,
I was gonna
east,
say,
north, south.
you weren't kidding. You have been everywhere.
Yeah. The music world, you have to bring the music to the people, right? It's like if they don't come to it. So that's what I
true.
signed up for. I'm not complaining. I'm happy about it.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
I jumped a little bit ahead. We didn't get a chance for you to tell to our fans exactly what you do and how you do it. You're a singer-songwriter and you're quite talented.
Well, thank you. But yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been playing music my entire life, so it's all I've really ever known. And I've just been putting out albums and writing songs for other people, and that's the gig. That's what I've been doing the whole time. So yeah.
Have you written any songs for some big people?
I mean, big is a relative term, but I've written for a lot of artists that I'm a big fan of. But I guess currently a lot of people are catching on to the band the Red Clay Strays, which I'm buddies with, and I've written a lot of songs for them. And they just put one of our songs in the new Twisters movie and on a new video game and all those things. So it's good.
Very cool.
Pretty awesome.
Nice.
We had an actor on from the Twisters movie. A few
Oh, cool.
months ago. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I tell people I was the stunt double for the tornado.
Heck yeah.
That's the role you want.
That's the role you want. That's right.
And when
Oh,
they
man.
when they asked for fat crap crazy, I was like, sign me up.
Right. You would fit in
So-
great in South Alabama.
What all different genres
wait,
of
me or
music do you
Amanda?
write, Eric?
Well,
Yeah.
well, probably both of you, but if you're back crap crazy, that's our people.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to do it for the state of West Virginia, so why not me?
West Virginia.
West by God, Virginia.
By God.
I'm just
Yeah,
next door to you in Kentucky. So
Yep.
So where is I should know this already. Sorry. I'm sorry for late to the party. But you're in West Virginia.
Normally-
Where are you at?
Normally, I'm in Atlanta, but I'm in
He's in the Great
Northern Kingdom,
the Great White North right now.
Vermont. So
Vermont.
we had-
long,
we had a
long
grand-
way. It's quite a piece from Atlanta.
yes, it is. Yeah, we
been
had
a-
a grandchild born, so my wife was like, "All right, we're going to Vermont." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take my show on the road, kind of like you do." So
Amanda, where are you at?
He's being a damn
I'm in
Yankee
Kentucky.
right now.
Kentucky. I was just there
Yeah.
yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm close to Lexington. I'm in Woodford County where they make Woodford Reserve.
Oh, I love your gross domestic product.
yeah.
I'm pretty fond of it myself.
Have you been doing this all your life?
Yeah, I literally have never done any other job. I've just played music and written music my whole life. So since I've been a young person, that's what I've been doing. So I'm a
great.
lifer, as they say.
That is great. Well,
Yeah.
Where do you find most of your inspiration for this?
I think the more you do it, the more it becomes that's a big part of the gig that I think a lot of people that aren't in it don't understand. That it's like how could you sit down on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. and just expect to be inspired? But that's not really what we're doing. The more you do it, the more I think you hone your antenna. So all day, every day, I'm hearing conversations and things that could be in songs. And when something sparks my whatever, excites me or whatever, like, oh wait, that could be something. I just put it down. I just write it down, little notes. So when you sit down on Tuesday, whether it be by yourself or with somebody, and you start churning over the small ideas, then it starts to roll. And once it's rolling, like that becoming a thing is actually the inspiration. And so like I think what you need to do, what you do is you write with everybody, and then you find a handful of people that you actually write well with. And then once you have your little group of writers, then when those poetic thoughts just happen naturally in life, you jot them down and don't complete them at the moment. And then whenever it's time to sit down in a room on Tuesday at 10 a.m. or whenever the time may be, you're not starting with a blank sheet of paper. You're starting with a valid idea. And then if you have 3 or 4 or 5 of them and you throw them out, one of those is going to catch your co-writers, and they're going to go, oh, I get it. And then when you see them start running with the idea in a way you wouldn't, then you go, now you're inspired. And then you're manufacturing inspirato, I guess is what it really boils down to.
Okay, that makes sense. Salty Dog in the chat says he loves us, but you seem like a stand-up dude, but what does this have to do with the paranormal? Well, paranormal is all around us.
I say that creation in general is probably a little bit paranormal. Like, I don't know where it comes from. It's not, so I mean he might have a point. I'm not trying to say he doesn't, but I mean
no, we have
a little weird in general is what I'm saying.
Maybe he's gonna sing us some spooky songs, Salty Dog. You don't know.
Yeah, I have all kinds of songs. I could sing you some spooky songs too, I guess.
We have guests on that are everything from authors, comic book artists to actors, athletes. So we have everybody on because we feel, or I feel like everybody at some point in time in their life, especially people who are creative, have some event or something that's happened in their life that makes them go, So I know
Well, that description I just said is like super analytical, and that's how the sausage gets made. You don't, that's just
Sure.
the nuts and bolts of it. But there's no denying that even with a honed antenna, I mean, you're still counting on the muse, and like, what is the muse other than a paranormal
I agree.
thing?
I agree.
A thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, we might be reaching a little bit, but
Who knows?
What's your favorite genre of music to write?
well, that's tricky because I really like everything, and I know that's the lame cop out excuse,
Oh,
but
I love every genre.
it's true. It's true, and the reason that I mean, I still put albums out, so technically I'm an artist, but like at my core, I'm a songwriter, and I'll write songs that are rock and roll and R&B and country and funk and whatever, because I think I would get bored if
Yeah.
otherwise.
You stuck to one.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And
I love that you can write everything.
I like to walk amongst the plains. So there's
Yeah.
just paranormal. I'm genre paranormal.
There you go. Yeah, when I
We dig
play
it.
like my favorites playlist on Amazon Music, it'll go from like Elvis to Madonna to Lady Gaga to Michael Jackson, and it's just
You're my
like
people. See, I know.
Simon Rio, Reba.
Yeah.
And then mine is all that, but then it'll throw in like a Disney princess song.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and then mine will have like Ludacris.
Disney ludicrous. That's my genre.
I love
I don't
it.
know if they're open for that yet.
Give it time.
I mean, why not? I would listen if there was a
I would
playlist.
too.
Yeah, if there was a playlist.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it makes me feel like it would sound very similar to the new kids show that Snoop Dogg put out.
Oh, I don't know that.
That if you look it up, he is singing kids' affirmations in a show, and that's what I feel like it would be.
Snoop has come quite a way, hasn't he? From
It's
his
beautiful.
origins.
He's a national treasure now.
He is a national treasure. I agree, but it is
And
funny to see young Snoop and elder
Yes.
Snoop.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we've kind of adopted Flavor Flav as a little bit of a national
Yes.
treasure too.
Yes. Like, wow,
I mean, if he
rappers
wasn't-
have come a long way.
If he wasn't already considered one because he's Flav, but
Right?
I think he funded.
I
don't
mean,
know
look,
how many-
we were talking to Bjorn about all things Viking, and Flavor Flav does represent the Viking helmet quite nicely.
It does.
It's true.
And he's a time traveler with the clock. I mean, it's just all the things.
National treasure material.
Yes.
I cannot deny that.
Salty Dog in the chat asked if you were familiar with John Prine.
I have heard of this guy. Yes, I'm very
Okay.
familiar.
Okay, I'm not, so I'll have to Google
Oh,
that.
John Prine, you're not familiar with John Prine. You should. I mean, here's my thing. It's not. I never say you should be, because it's like that's part of what your DNA is as a human being. Like you have things that you love musically that I've never heard of, and likewise. But I will say John Prine is a genius, and I think it's worth at least dabbling in so you can see if you like it, because he's a special. He had a special mind, that guy.
Okay, yeah, he just
What?
said that he is God when it comes to writing. So
Well, he's not wrong. He did his thing unlike anyone else.
What genre?
It's hard to say. I mean, some people would say country, but it's not really. Or some people would say folk, and it's not really. It's just he's a songwriter. He's just a storytelling songwriter guy. The interesting thing about genres to me is that I fully understand the reason why we need them, and it helps you compartmentalize so that you can see I'm in the mood for something like this, so I'll go check that out. I get it. It's not, in that essence, it's not a bad thing. But when you really think about art, and music is art, like all of your favorite artists don't sound like anybody else. So like even if they're doing a wide range of things, when you hear them, you go, oh, that's the Beatles or whoever the case may be. They could do a more of a psychedelic rock song or a more of a ballad or more of whatever. And you go, well, that's Tom Petty or Prince or whoever you're saying. And it's like, well, once you do that, well, it's like, that's clearly defying genres. Like they're sounding like themselves, not like anything else. That's what makes them what you want to get. So it's just interesting. It's like you have to be in a genre and then defy a genre. It's just kind of a strange way we intake music, but I understand the need for it, but it's just peculiar to me. So
Yes.
That's
Because
very
I take a lot of that too. Like, okay, opening of this song is very Metallica, but voice is very, whoever, and you can take apart parts of the songs of where their influence was.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was a country and western disc jockey way back in the day, and
cool.
he's like, I don't even think. Well, my dad's passed away, but mom's like, country western isn't what it used to be, and I said, well, I think it's evolved. So I think all of music has evolved over time.
Nothing is like it used to be, and that might be that's probably a good thing. We're evolving.
Well, it's like at least we got it when it was still its own thing and it was good, and we're not getting the
look. We're all
50 million
we're trending toward the computer writing everything anyway. So who cares? Right.
How does that scare you? Because I've seen a lot of singers and people voicing out that they are against it.
I don't really know how I feel about it. It's like poppy things. If I went in a room as a writer with humans and we were going to intentionally try to write a pop song in order to pitch it to artist X, then they are going to listen to everything artist X has written and put guardrails on it and say, well, they only do things that have these 4 chords in it, and they only say things that are these things. So
these topics.
They're all right. So they're already putting me in a box. The humans are putting me in a box. So it's like, you're not allowed, they're handcuffing me and saying you can only do these things. If you're gonna pursue that thing, well, then I don't even really see what's different than a computer just making it, because it's like you already know the parameters of which you have to write. As a writer, I don't really, I try not to do that. Like it kind of loses soul for me if I don't have any hand in it. So like I don't do that. I don't have disdain for my colleagues and friends who do that. But it's like, if you are doing that, what's the difference of just like, why don't you just let the computer write the thing and then make some of your own words over the top of it? I don't really see there's a problem with that. But I'm trying to do stuff that sounds unique and twisted and different. And, whether I fail or succeed, that's the target I'm aiming at, and like, so.
It's interesting, the similarities between, AI and songwriting and AI and comic book art, because it was very much that of like, nope, because it's going to take all the jobs. Everybody's going to like the AI art better. And people are now finally understanding a different use for it, that like it can help build the structure of things, but finished product is still yours. So like, I guess if you're in like a bit of a slump, it can give you like a bit of an idea of what to go off of, but then you take the majority of it yourself. But that's what I found in the comic book art.
That's exactly how it applies to songs. Exactly, without a doubt. If you're gonna write, I don't want to oversimplify it, but for some artists, if they were like write a modern country song for this artist, they're only going to go. There's nothing wrong with that. That sounds great, but it's the most basic 4 chords that you can have.
What's
And
funny?
so
I was like,
like,
are we getting ready to sing Wonderwall?
I mean,
That's what the first part reminded me of.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, come on, some Oasis.
but if you're going to do that, then what's the difference of just let the computer build that? And then if you were going to do any human creativity, you could do the finishing and it would still sound somewhat maybe fresh. I mean, like I said, I haven't, that doesn't interest me because that's not what I love about songwriting. But I'm saying, just like the graphic novelist or comic book writer, in the same way, if you're just like, I'm a mercenary and I'm trying to put out as many songs that are, I'm pitching, I'm making a widget to fit this widget size hole. I mean, I don't know why would that even be a crime to use that? I mean, if you're selling a McDonald's hamburger, then like that thing makes a lot of McDonald's hamburgers. Just do that. If you're trying to make the best tasting hamburger you can make,
You gotta
then
try
you don't
here and here and
probably
here and
need
here
to
and
use
here.
that.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that are making the McDonald's hamburgers. And like I said, I'm not trying to throw rocks at them. I mean, whatever, that's what they're trying to do. But
Some
hard. That's real hard because I have the people that like started me as a child, like James Taylor and Jim Croce, and then I have other people that along the way I have found that are blow my mind, like David Wilcox is incredible, and but there's tons of people, Gretchen Peters, Lisa Carver. That list is deep, but those are some to start with.
Scott Hutchinson was gone too far, too soon. Sorry.
Gone too soon.
I'm stretching across.
He has gone far too. He has gone far too far behind the.
He's way out
Soon
there.
too
From
far.
beyond
He
the
has gone
grave.
soon too far.
What's the largest crowd you've performed in front of?
Oh, I don't know. I'll probably play for 15,000 people, a handful of 5 or 6, 7 or 8. My band played for a lot of people a lot of time.
Does that make you nervous?
Nah, it's different. The most nervous is when you're with like 6 people, I think. But that doesn't make me nervous either now. But like over my whole career, I would say the smaller crowds are easy. Like when it's just a mass of humanity, then you're just going,
Well, you can see those 6 people judging you. You can't see 15,000 people all judging you at once.
It's almost like a bed of nails, right? The more pressure points you have, the less pressure you feel.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you have to lay on a bed of nails of 2 nails, it's tougher.
Makes sense. Yeah, well, then they'll heckle you. So,
Well, whatever. If you can't handle a little heckling, you don't need to be in this job. Trust me, you'll get all the bad comments you ever need.
I'm
You just
learning.
you gotta have a good comeback.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Well, you also can't take yourself too serious. You're like, I write songs. I hope that you like the songs, but like, I fully get it if you don't like any of my songs. Like, whatever. Like, I'm not expecting you in advance to love my songs. And if you have that attitude, then you're fine. Like, I hope you do.
Well, and it's like, you do write them for the masses, but you also write it for yourself. So it's kind of like, well, I love it. So
Well, that's exactly. That's the other thing. I like the quicker you can get to where like I'm writing this song because I want to love it. And it's like, some of those songs, trust me, I mean, I don't know what I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, like songs I thought would be like bangers and play them and like, it's just crickets. And then I play songs that I think are like B minus, what I mean? Like I like them, but I don't love them. And then I'll play them and it's just like crowd just like they sing along and I had to play every gig.
y'all
like,
loved that one, but you didn't like the last one. Jesus.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
but that's
They
why
have
we
to play it
write the
every
songs.
time.
That's why you have, publicists and A&R people and all those people figure out that other part. So
Well,
It's really funny. Again, there are the similarities between the songwriting and the comic book art. The one thing you put out that you have worked a month on to be perfect, 6 likes. The crappy little thing that took you 30 minutes and you're like 200.
But I think you have to go like in our world, it's music business as 2 words. So music is art, business is business, and you know whatever the analogous structure is in comic book world, it's the same thing where it's like the art doesn't change. That's the same. Like you're doing it for art's sake. But when you get to the business side, it's just like you're not really in control of what people like. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you're involved in both of the sides, it's like they liked anything good.
Yeah. Cool. And well, you at least got 1 like, so I mean, at least one other person liked it.
Right.
Well, you know, I do a lot of research now because I'm on-air personality, and I'll find so many bands or performers hits were on the B side of a 45 back in the day, and the person was going to the record station saying, "Play the A side, play the A side." And I don't think they didn't have a formula then. I don't think they have a formula now. So.
Yeah, I kind of miss those days. Those days are gone. You don't find any songs. It's like the hit or nothing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But that was the beauty of the A side, B side. Some DJ somewhere would flip it over and play the other side, and it would become the big deal.
Yep.
And then not anymore, but you know.
Well, and now there's only, I don't know, I'm going to guess a dozen maybe true FM stations that aren't owned by corporates, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
So they're in, the program directors aren't like they used to. They would listen to the music and pick it, and the jocks could as well. Now, a lot of times it's the computer just does it all. So
we have the internet kind of circumnavigated the whole. I'm not saying radio is insignificant at all, but I'm saying like the people are getting the music. It's almost like it flipped it on its head. Like it used to be the radio and the record labels would tell the people what was cool, and then it would catch fire. And now the people are just like making a thing catch fire, and then the radio and labels are catching onto it and selling it once they already know it's a popular thing.
Yeah.
So it's just inverted.
Do you ever think FM will die? That FM radio or go away?
I mean, I don't know. There's still plenty of applications and stuff. I mean, most people I know listen to, the apps on their phone as opposed to that. But I mean, it must still have hundreds of millions of listeners or they wouldn't be in existence. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I grew up, of course, a cassette era kid. So that was my thing. And then when I started getting into vinyl, my dad working at country and western stations, I had such a selection. And, then when it all switched to CD, now you just download it. I almost feel cheated.
So this is a strange story, but my band, I was in a band long ago, and the cassette era was clearly already had passed long ago. But when we put our first CD out, I had an old car and it had a cassette player. And I was like, hey, when we print all these CDs, can we also print a cassette? Because I just want to have one cassette for my car. Maybe somebody will buy them. And they were like, nobody's going to buy these things. And so we printed, I don't know, 200 cassettes or whatever the number was. I don't remember, which was a horrible business decision because we were way past that. But I got my handful of cassettes to throw in my car, and then by the time we had like a big show on whatever like Friday night, and we played some show in rural Alabama on like Wednesday before our big CD release show, and we talked to each other and we're like, that was a stupid business move. We should have never bought all these cassettes. We don't need them. Let's just throw them all out to the crowd. So like while we're playing, we just opened these boxes and just dumped them on the crowd. We weren't even like, we were just like, because we didn't want them. Like it wasn't because, we weren't being like, So we throw them all out. We don't think anything about it. Well, it turned out to be like a huge benefit to our band because everybody in the crowd went and took the cassettes and went and burned them on CDs. And we came back to that place like, a year later, and everybody's singing our song. Like thousands of people are out singing our songs. And I was like, it was a totally accident, only because we were stupidly bought cassettes because I had a cassette player in my car.
It was just one of those long-term investments. You just had to wait to
I
get
wish
it all
I
back.
could agree with you and say we were smart enough that that's what we did that on purpose, but it was absolutely an accident. But yes,
fantastic.
you know what?
Great
You be
story.
my manager. You're hired. You're my publicist. You make me look better.
Gotcha.
It was a long-term investment.
Just be like, no, look, the crazy's over here.
Yeah, life on the road has to suck too. I mean, you're always moving, so.
Well, there's not a lot of sleep, and there's lots of fast food, which are neither of those are good for they're not very healthy. But you also get to see a lot of wonderful people and see the world. So like, it's a trade-off. Try to eat as healthily as you can, and but anyway, like I said, I signed up for it. I joined the circus, so I'll take it with it. Sometimes it smells like elephants.
So you'll have to sing us a song.
Oh, I
Yes,
guess.
you-
Okay.
Well, I was going to ask before you do that real quick. We always ask our guests, do you have any paranormal stories to tell us?
All right. Well, I don't know. I was playing a gig in the Panhandle of Florida in Defuniak Springs, Florida, and my mother's like my best friend, and she doesn't get to come to all my shows, obviously, but like if I'm gone for 3 or 4 months or something, I'll fly her out in the middle, pick a cool show that she can come to or whatever. And this was not far from home, so she came over to that one, and we went to the show, and we were staying in this really ancient hotel, like the downtown. It has, I don't know, 8 rooms or something. It's a small, old 200-year-old hotel or something. And they were like, this place is haunted, and whatever. And I play the show, and when we get done and we go in there, there's a full film crew set up in there, and they're filming like Paranormal Activity or like a Ghost Hunters episode. And they're like, the room you're staying in is where these 2 kids died, and like all the like it's like they're like, you're in the portal that's like this big thing. And my mom, like, I went straight to sleep because I can sleep through literally anything. But my mom was like staying up all night, like hearing things where like kids running up and down the halls and all these things, or whatever. But that's as close as I guess I have to a real, personal. It is less me, more my mom. But I was in the room while she was having a paranormal experience, I guess. But it was enough of a paranormal experience that they had the film crew out there filming Ghost Hunters.
Oh, wow. Well, we were just talking about that ladies are a little bit more perceptive and open to things like that than we are.
Yeah, I'm pretty oafish.
We have a commenter real quick who really wants to know if you have a son named Zach who's around 27.
I do not have a son named Zach, or any
Okay.
son for that matter.
No splapper trap. No to that.
Oh, I see the chat now. Yes, JD Loudermilk absolutely had a lot of hits for a lot of people. Agreed.
Yeah, our chat is always, sometimes they ask some really strange questions, other times they're right on. So we keep losing Cheyenne in West Virginia. They apparently don't have good internet. So I thought it was bad here in
I don't know.
Vermont.
I'm just
I'm
rolling
out
with
here
it.
in the middle of nowhere and haven't lost internet tonight. I'm surprised.
You see, my phone's fine. I don't know what's going on. It's just the computer's mad at me because it knows I'm going to be changing things in here. It's already getting. I've got the new monitor over here, and she's getting jealous.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Eric. I know
There's definitely some paranormal activity in the devices, no doubt.
Yes, and it's called the government.
Well, the most paranormal of all activities. Indeed.
You hear that, CBS? You hear that?
Our stalker, CBS.
Yeah, we have a production assistant that watches our show regularly and reports back to CBS. So you will be heard by CBS executives. I can guarantee you that. So
Okay. All right.
They're like Big Brother. They're always watching.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what everybody need, a big brother, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I interrupted Cheyenne. She was wanting you to sing her a song, so I
don't know exactly what song to sing. Let me think.
Yes, just for me, not for everybody else.
Okay, yeah, Amanda and Sportcat, if you could turn your cameras off, this is just for Shy.
All right, I'm ready.
I don't know what song. Let me. How about this one? We originally wrote this song seemingly to be about songwriting, which is a little bit of inside baseball, I think, where it might not apply to a lot of people. Because me and my friend Scott were writing a song because we were thinking about how crazy it is that, given the fact there's been billions of songs written through the millennia, they're all written with the same 12 notes and 26 letters. So it's crazy that there would ever be anything fresh or new to say. And we actually were making fun of ourselves for how arrogant are we to think that we could say something new that hasn't been said, right? And then we said, but every single day we get to play with other, our buddies, our colleagues, and they're writing songs about heartbreak or traveling or whatever the case may be, but they have said it in some new way I've never heard, and that inspires us to go, try it again. And I just think that's kind of the magic. And truly, that, not just pandering to your show, but there's a little paranormal in that, where it's like, I don't know how that's possible. It doesn't seem to be algorithmically possible that would work out, but somehow, whether we're delusional or not,
We are.
to think that it's new, something new, it feels new anyway. So even if it's not new, it feels new. So that part is I think unusual and magical and great. And anyway, so I was playing this song for a while, and then it struck me. It's always funny to me too that you'll write a song and then like kind of figure out another layer to it, a year later after playing it. And that's what this song did, because I was like, oh, this is just a songwriter song. This is a songwriter song. And then eventually I was like, it is a songwriter song, but it's more like a metaphor. The songwriting part is the metaphor. In a grander scheme, if you're not a songwriter, it can still apply to you, because what it really is saying is life's not about what you have, but like what you can do with what you have. And so that's kind of that's the essence of this one. It's called 12 Notes and 26 Letters. It's just a pawn shop rescue with rusted strings. It barely stays in tune, but man, it sings. And it's a blank sheet of paper waiting on ink, and some line in your head you got from a wake you up dream. But with just 12 notes and 26 letters, depending on how you put them all together, can make somebody dance, make somebody smile, take their mind off life for a little while, start a revolution that'll change the world. And if you get it right, you can get the girl. You turn 3 minutes minutes into something that'll last forever. With just 12 notes and 26 letters. When you think about everything Bob Dylan never said, and what Lennon and McCartney did to your heart and your head, ain't it crazy how right now there's some talent show kid about to say it in a way that nobody else ever did. With just 12 notes and 26 letters, depending on how you put them all together, to make somebody dance, make somebody smile, take the mind off life for a little while, start a revolution that'll change the world. And if you get it right, you can get the girl. Turn 3 minutes into something that'll last forever. With just 12 notes and 26 letters. With just 12 notes and 26 letters, depending on how you put them all together, could make somebody dance, make somebody smile, take their mind off life for a little while, start a revolution that'll change the world. And if you get it right, you can get the girl. Turn 3 minutes into something that'll last forever. With just 12 notes and 26 letters. 12 notes and 26 letters. Oh,
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
That was fantastic.
yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start over. I'm gonna go get in bed, and you can start again.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Just snuggle up.
Yep.
That was beautiful.
Great.
That was very beautiful.
Thank you very much.
And like you said, that could apply to so many things. I know you were talking
Well, like I
about.
said, on the surface, it's clearly a songwriter thing, but then it's like, yeah, whatever. You don't have to be a songwriter for that to be like take what little you have and make it something else. You know?
Right.
Exactly.
The immediate thing that I got off of it was like how much music means to a lot of people and what it does for them.
How much what?
Like what music means to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much it does for them.
Like, yeah, it could change your day. It can dramatically lift you up if you're having a bad day. I mean, your
I've
favorite
always
song.
thought it was very strange as a fan of music, which I am, that happy songs make you feel happy, and then sad songs make you feel less sad because you feel like somebody else understands. So it's like both of them are going the same direction. Yeah, it's a strange a little bit, but anyway.
What was it my dad used to say? If you play a country and western music backwards, you get your trailer back, your car back, your wife back.
Right.
It's an old joke, but I remember my dad saying that many times.
That's very true.
I'll
You
have
said-
to try that.
But if you play it backwards, then you lose the dog.
That's true. Yes, and as one of the people in the chat say, it is engineered to heal regardless of the tone.
That's a beautiful sentiment.
Well, I mean, you know, we have a small audience, but if one person tonight hears that song and they're inspired or they feel better about it, you've done your job.
For sure. Yeah, man. For sure. Like, you can't get caught up in like, I mean, for me anyway, I don't know. That's not really about numbers and likes and whatever. I mean, clearly that helps when it works out in your favor, but like, that's not really what it's about at its core.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier about how music has changed. Jim Morrison from the Doors, way back in the 60s, early 70s, he I think was ahead of himself time wise, and even if you listen to Skrillex, he took some of his lyrics and put them in his song because Jim Morrison predicted that one day that electronics and computers and different things would make different songs. So,
It's a weird ass song too.
I did not know Jim Morrison predicted AI, but I guess he did.
Yeah, well, he did a lot of drugs too. So.
Well, see, he would have been far less criminalized these days.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the first rock and rollers that I discovered because, well, growing up under a DJ that's country and western, I had the Gatlin Brothers, Bill Anderson, Porter Wagner, Dolly Parton. My mom sang backup for Dolly Parton. So
Really?
I had all those people. And then when I started hearing rock and roll, I'm like, what is this noise? I love it.
What is this noise that I love?
It makes you feel so much better. It is a form. That's right. It's how we communicate with the world.
Yeah.
So, and Salty Dog says you have a very nice residence. Oh. I can't speak. You sound good.
He asked if he sang as well. Nope.
I mean,
that was all the AI. That was all the AI, Salty Dog.
I would like to take that as a compliment, except that I just sang, and they said, "Do you sing as well?"
You'll have to give Salty Dog some grace.
It's all good.
Bless his heart.
Hey, you are from West Virginia.
Yes, but you've got to be able to tell, did I mean that one, or was I being smart?
Obviously, it's all context.
That's true. It's like my era. It was ma'am. There was more than one meaning. Eric, I want to make sure that you're out there, and I think we've talked about getting you on the now Cheyenne and myself DJ on a Thin Line Rock station. I'd love to get you out there in front of that audience. And this show will replay this Saturday night, which is it, Cheyenne? On
you keep track of that part. I just make sure stuff is spelt right.
It's true. I can't talk or spell, but I can't even spell my own show name sometimes. So yeah, we'll get it in Nashville, out in airplay. You're incredibly talented. I think you've got a great set of pipes. Your friend Les spoke very highly of you. He said,
Les is my boy. We've been playing music a long time.
Yeah, he said y'all went way back. So he said that you might have some stories from the swamps of Mobile. So
yeah, I got stories from a lot of places. They originate in the swamp, but they've taken me in a lot of places.
Absolutely. Well, he's got a book out too that is I'm still finishing up. That's awesome. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but it's really good.
Yeah. Great book.
It is. So, and he's on tour right now. Well, I think he's like a manager or something. He doesn't perform anymore. I think
Les is a phenomenal songwriter and a phenomenal musician and a singer as well. But he's out with Larry Fleet. I'm not sure exactly what capacity, but in some sort of managerial, type of role. But don't sleep on Les Hall. He can do it. He can do it himself as well.
Yeah, I believe that. Having him on the show was great. I was very surprised because I come in expecting to hear about his book more than anything, and then we took a right turn, and it was great. So,
I consider him a brother, one of my brothers in music.
I was going to say, I didn't realize there were so many talented people coming out of Mobile.
We really are spoiled a little bit because, not to call out any other cities at all, because that's not how it's meant, but there's far larger cities that have less original music. than we do. Like we're kind of flooded with original music, and I'm not really sure 100% where that came from, but like I always say, you know, it's like everybody saying standing on the shoulders of giants or whatever, but like there were generations before us that were doing original music. So when you're born into that scene, you just kind of think that's what you do. Like, you know, certainly there are tons of gigs that you make money playing cover songs or whatever the case may be, but it wasn't other scenes. You'd get your hand slapped for playing too many covers and too many originals and not enough covers or whatever. And here they just kind of let you do whatever you do. And I thought that was the norm until I started touring a lot, and it's not the norm. And anyway, so like cities I would expect to have a lot more original music coming out of them don't. Anyway, I'm just proud. I love my hometown anyway for a lot of reasons, but the music scene is a big part of that. And I mean, some of my favorite music is coming out of here. And I don't know that a lot of people know it. I feel like in the country world this year, like a lot of people are starting to kind of blow up, you know, from Alabama. Like I just saw some Rolling Stone article or something talking about how Alabama is having a renaissance or whatever, but it's like, it's kind of been having a renaissance for, you know, it's not really, that's not new. It's just like the spotlight kind of got turned on it, but there's been music coming out of here for a long, you know, decades. And it makes me feel good that people are liking what's coming out of here, but it's like being in the scene, it doesn't feel like it's really changed. You know, it's just more of the same. Anyway, I'm proud of Alabama folk.
Well, and I was going to ask, is anybody else in your family singer-songwriter, musician?
I mean, my older brother, when I was like 8 years old, my older brother, he was playing guitar, and we had 3 next door neighbors, and we would sit around one of those old tape recorders with the red button and the black button. You know, right?
Yep.
We didn't know what we were doing, but you know, they would be like, "Hey, you hit these 2 buttons on the keyboard, and when we go to the other part, hit these 2 buttons." You know, we were like very feral musicians, but at the same time, I was like creating songs when I was 8 years old, you know, and I had no idea I was going to do that for my vocation, but it definitely started a love of creating, not just music, but a love of like making music in me at a young age. And anyway, so I think if I'd have been in another city, maybe I wouldn't have had the avenues to pursue that as you know, as heavily as I did.
How long are you going to be home before you go back out?
Day and a half.
Oh my God!
Oh wow!
I got here today. I got to be in Texas on Saturday.
Oh wow! And then how long?
I do get to come back though. I'll come back Sunday night, and I'll be here like 4 days, and then I'll go. So it's a little bit of a break.
Where were you at here in Kentucky?
I played in Independence, Kentucky, and Verona,
Okay.
which is right up by Cincinnati, kind of.
Yeah. Nice.
The vineyard up there, they had a songwriter round, and then I played a house concert in
Oh,
Independence,
very cool.
the KY Nashville Connection.
Don't sleep on Amanda. She doesn't want to tell you her ulterior. She's got a second personality. She's a wrestler. So
Amanda's a wrestler.
she is a wrestler. Yes.
I kept hearing you talking earlier when Bjorn was on, talking about the camel clutch.
Oh yeah.
You were just throwing out references. I didn't know you were like, you know, a pro at it. So
She takes them off the top rope, gets them on the ground, and then I just curb stomp.
Elbow.
you do the ground and pound. I see.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not away from them. So
That's why he took off for Vermont.
So y'all are like, y'all are like that. Y'all are in the cage, right? So, yeah.
I would not want to be in the cage. With
No,
them.
I'm
I'll be standing on the other side of the ropes, acting like I'm gonna tag in, but then she's trying to get out, and I'm just running around like nope.
They'll be selling tickets to see how long it is before she knocks me out. So
Taking taking bets on that.
My wrestling knowledge is very I don't have any basically, but I feel like there were some people that you could be Shaq could be your what were there wrestlers that had like their sidekick, their Ted DiBiase or whatever, who are some other
Right.
that had their you know,
Like the Undertaker and
there you go.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm just gonna have to kick you out of the show if you keep this up, Shay. So,
No, that was me a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Ted had
Patience is
Virgil.
wearing.
There you
Wearing
go. I
in
knew it
with
was
us.
somebody. See,
our chat kid always pick us up. So, before you get out of here, if you'd like to do another song or two or three, whatever.
yeah, whatever.
Uh,
I'm here. I'm chilling.
I want to make sure you get a chance to tell everybody where they can find your stuff
Yeah.
and where you're going to be. So I want to make sure we got time for that. The music's just as important, but it's not as important if you don't know where to find it. One of our comments earlier was saying that if you were in Mobile, that she or he, I can't remember which now, would like to know where you will be in Mobile performing.
I mean, I'm here for a second, but I'm not playing this trip home. I do play here sometimes, but I'm on the road more than I'm here. You can find out all of my stuff at Eric Erdman Music on all social medias and ericerdmanmusic.com also. So it's all out there pretty easily accessible. I'm doing a one-off private show in Texas, and then I go to the Panhandle of Florida.
You weren't supposed to tell people about that.
Oh, sorry. About my website or about the gig?
It's
I
private.
was like, I thought I wasn't supposed to tell people about my website. I'm so confused. Shy, don't mess with me. I'm easily thrown off. But
Oh, that was good. That was good.
but yeah, next week I go to Lynn Haven, Florida. There's a place called Roberts Hall. It's a really cool little venue, but it's like it's cool. And I'm playing there on the 30th, I think it is, with Will Thompson Band, which is a great band down in the Panhandle of Florida. And yeah, just writing. So basically I go there, play in Texas, come back, I have like 4 days of writing, and then go to Panhandle, Florida, and then I don't really remember after that. I think I go further into Florida and play like Tampa, Orlando, and then God knows after that. I usually keep about 10 days in advance in my brain, and everything else is on my calendar.
Google Calendar. Yeah, somebody
Lucky
asked
you can
if
keep 10. I'm lucky if I can remember what I'm doing tomorrow.
See, thank you.
Yeah. Somebody asked if you venture out towards Oklahoma.
I do venture out to Oklahoma. I venture everywhere, to be honest with you. I've been just about, other than South America, I still got to play South America, but other than that, I've pretty much been everywhere on the earth. Well, Antarctica, but I don't do a lot of gigs down there. So,
I don't think there's much of an audience up there.
I'm not sure I would want to really.
Not like maybe the CIA. They might.
I don't do cold a lot very well, so. But
No.
everywhere else, I've pretty much been in Africa and all over Europe and Japan and wherever Australia, all the places. But since we have Oklahoma people, I feel like I should play you this song. But I got to tell you the story first, because that's really the whole purpose of the song. I was at a writer retreat where they basically take 4 or 5 or 6 artists, and they take 4 or 5 or 6 writers, and they put us in an Airbnb somewhere, usually remote, so that we don't bother the neighbors. They get complaints, but they'll hold us up there, and we'll be there for a week or so. We'll write a bunch of songs, and that's how a lot of songs get on other people's albums or whatever. And this retreat, when I got there, my manager was also there, and she said, "Hey, one of the writers got sick and they can't be here, so we have a spot open. So if you know anybody that might want to take their place, call them." And I was like, "Well, yeah, there's tons of people that want to take their place, but you also have to be off all this span of time, and we're already starting the event. And then also they have to be able to get here, so it has to be close, and they also have to be off. So that drastically limits the list. I said, but my friend Adam Hood is a hit writer, great writer, and he only lives like an hour and a half from here, so maybe I'll call him. And she said, well, Adam would be that'd be a perfect choice. We'd love to have him, but I know he's not going to be able to make it, because I happened to see on his social media yesterday that he's stuck overseas. Like he had a problem with his passport, like he lost it or something, and he's stuck. And I was traveling all the time like I do. I was like, man, that's bad. Like I've never had that happen, thankfully. But then I start playing it out in my mind, like, what do you do if you lose your badge? You got to go to the embassy. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a 3-hour fix or a 3-week fix. I'm thinking about all that would go into. And then it occurred to me, I was like, well, I don't know. I wonder where he's at. And I said, Angie, I was like, where overseas is Adam stuck? And she said, Mexico. And I was like, I'm pretty sure Mexico's not overseas. I was like, I think if you can drive there, it doesn't count as overseas. So, if you make an error like that in a room full of songwriters, they're going to, give you hell the whole time. So she became the butt of the joke. So then anytime we couldn't find anything, it was like, oh man, I lost my keys. They're probably overseas in Rhode Island or, whatever the case may be. And we would just do that for days and days and days. And then one morning we were eating breakfast and my friend Taylor came in the kitchen and he was like, hey man, where's Bill? And I was like, I don't know. And he said, he's probably overseas in Oklahoma. And I was like, hold on a second. Those antenna I was talking about earlier, I was like, I don't know what that means, but that sounds like the title of the song and we can figure it out. So we kind of basically wrote this song as an exercise. No actual human beings were harmed in the making of this song. This was just an exercise to land the plane on the title overseas in Oklahoma. So here you go. Oh man, there's my ex. She just walked in. I know what comes next. She'll stroll over here, flirting and laughing, order up a beer like nothing ever happened. My friend, it looks like I have to catch you later, but when I step out the back, can you do me a favor? Make up a story, throw a dart at the map. If she asks you how I'm doing or where I'm at, I'm catching a tan out in Seattle, in New York City, raising cattle, Rocky Mountain High in Louisiana, going ice fishing in Alabama, sailing a ship through the Cumberland Gap. No, I didn't say when I'd be back. Somewhere on a beach in Arizona, overseas in Oklahoma. If there's even a chance she knows I'm around, she'll be calling me up before I'm back at the house. She'll wanna come over, and I'll probably let her. So I'm begging you, please just tell her I'm catching a tan out in Seattle, in New York City, raising cattle, Rocky Mountain High in Louisiana, going ice fishing in Alabama, sailing a ship through the Cumberland Gap. No, I didn't say when I'd be back. Somewhere on a beach in Arizona, overseas in Oklahoma. If there's one thing I know for sure, till the day I'm over, I'm catching a tan out in Seattle, in New York City, raising cattle, Rocky Mountain High in Louisiana, going ice fishing in Alabama,
sailing a ship through the Cumberland Gap. No, I didn't say when I'd be back. I'm somewhere on the beach in Arizona, overseas in Oklahoma.
Anyway, there you go. There's your Oklahoma
I
song.
love it.
Encore.
I agree. Hell yeah, good stuff. Very
That's
good stuff.
awesome.
So yeah,
It just seemed
everybody-
relevant because of Oklahoma.
There you
I
go.
will tell you this: we wrote that song basically like we're just trying to find out, tell her I'm anywhere except where she can find me, obviously. But so we were trying to think of things that you would least associate with an area. But then I went to Seattle to play, and everybody's like putting sunscreen on, and we're all out and I'm like, damn it, I got to rewrite the words to this. like that's not quite as far fetched as I had imagined in my mind, but we left it.
That's great.
Eric, I don't want to keep you. I have a feeling I can probably. Well, I know the girls could. We could keep you for another 2 hours. But,
Whatever, man.
That's
I'm
fine.
good.
He's
I've already
ours
followed
now.
them on Facebook.
Oh, right on.
We've claimed him. It's fine. He can stay.
All good. I'm happily claimed.
Yes. Well, we're going to try and get your music on the Thin Line Rock Station. We'll
Cool.
obviously this will be on WRFN in Nashville and WDJY in Atlanta. So we'll get you there. I'll get you some playtime in Washington D.C. on a cable station up there too as well. So
Very cool.
we'll try to get you out there.
Well, I appreciate it. Hey, look, like you said, one person hears it and digs it. That's the mission.
That's right. And if you changed one life, so Eric, will you come back and see us? I know you're a busy man. Will you come back and
I
see
would
us?
love it.
All right.
As long as Amanda doesn't put me in the camel clutch, and as long as Shy is still my manager, I'm in.
There you go.
Just keep your ducks in a row.
Get you a
Well,
headlock and
you're
just keep
supposed
you
to-
here so
My
you
ducks
can't go
are
anywhere.
definitely not in a row. That's why I need management.
Let me tell you,
We'll talk
she's
about it.
straightened me out. So, all right. Well, Eric, have a wonderful evening. As he said, mission successful tonight. You did a great job. And
Thank
we
you. I
hope
appreciate
you
y'all
have a
having me on your show.
All right,
Thank
go
you
get
for
some
being
rest.
here.
Yeah.
You need some rest. Go get some rest. We appreciate it.
I am. I'm gonna go watch a movie with my mama.
There you go. So I understand you can rent Twister now. So there you go.
Oh, well, maybe we'll do that.
There you go. All right. Have a wonderful night, Eric. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Nice.
Sir, thank you. That was great. That
Amazing.
was great.
Is he gone?
Do what now?
Is he gone? Can he hear me?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he will play this back. So,
Oh my god.
and I'll make sure to edit this part out for the radio station for your show. You know,
He was
Could you
yummy.
tell? Could
He
you
was
tell we were
yummy.
here like texting? We're like,
Sweet
"Oh,
Jesus.
look at his eyes."
Sweet Jesus.
well, we a lot of people in the audience have been wondering what does this have to do with paranormal. Well, if you look at our name, we're para are normal, and everybody has a story to tell. And I got a mic, and I like to talk to people. We're gonna have a run of a couple musicians coming up soon, so and I'm hoping we can get.
Sclapper Trap, behave yourself.
I'm hoping we can get a fairly well-known one I'm working on. So, but
Nice.
we'll just keep that under wraps. So,
And it's always
Um,
nice to hear if they have paranormal experiences that they want to talk about.
exactly. Well, both our guests tonight talked about their family having experiences. So
Mhm.
it's not so far out there for everybody to have seen or experienced something.
Not at all.
So, all right, Cheyenne. So we hooked the audience earlier, and you were going to tell them about your new rack.
Oh, yes. So I had to make some adjustments because where I'm not using the mic on my old headphones anymore, and I needed to get a new pair of them for when I get all of my new equipment set up. And looking at them online, I was like, "Oh, I bet my antlers would fit on that," and they wouldn't. So I had to use this big freaking box cutter to cut them off my
Good Lord.
because they already detach, but then I had to cut the part that like holds them like this, and then like E6000 glue them on here so that there wasn't a riot, and then I painted this part of it black so that it fit in. Because I love you guys.
That's quite the
Yeah.
project.
It wasn't
is.
as bad as I thought it was going to be. I have these little tiny, they're like the little black rubber bands, you know, that you use in your hair and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so I like did them together to hold each of them down so that it would stay. Oh, but I gotta tell you about my story I was telling you about earlier.
Well, that's right. You promised that too. So
So I had walked out the back door at work yesterday, and there's a little like guardrail that leans down, and I'll just step down on the first step and lean against the guardrail to smoke for a minute. And I don't know what happened, but I look over and I see something move along the gravel that's right beside of and I screamed like a little girl. Because I just see it move just like in this motion. And because to step down onto the first step is probably about that far. I went into the door and about fell back into the building to realize I scared myself by a puff of smoke. It was where the puff of smoke was in the air. That created a shadow.
All this paranormal talk. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
Yep.
That is great.
And my boss comes flying out of her office screaming. She's like, "What? What?" And I was like, "I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you. I can't." She's like, "Well, what the F just happened?" I was like, "I just scared myself with a puff of smoke because I didn't know what it was."
See, since you win gold for that event, I think if Eric had heard that, he could probably come up with something that, as an inspiration, a puff of smoke is not a ghost or something. So, didn't you tell a story last week when we found you, or when we were all being weird? Well, we're always weird. So,
No, because that just happened yesterday. So.
there you go. Well, it's dark here, and I'm sitting in front of a bay window that is like wide open to the mountains and stuff, and I keep seeing these flashes, and there's no from the outside it's bright enough to overpower these lights, and I was looking on the radar and there's no thunderstorms, so now I'm afraid to go outside. So.
What could it be?
I don't know. It's very different up here, and I'll be honest. Having come from the South, I was afraid that everybody was going to be, kind of mean and nasty. Everybody up here is so great. I mean, they're very nice people up here. So yeah, I've been surprised. Well, what part are you? She said she was in the Panhandle, I believe. So yeah, people are seeing them all the time down around there. So they go in their alien base underwater. So
Which kind of gray man, Cut Chops?
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting on a time traveling vampire to email me back so we can get them on the show. So
Nice.
Don't we have the werewolf coming up?
That's what I was about to look. I think we do. I don't know who we have next week. Let me pull it up here and see. Yes, we do. The werewolf is next week. So, yes, we have another musician next week, and we have a werewolf. So, there you go.
I'm
Come
excited
back.
to hear about that.
And then we have a live show tomorrow night. I've got some TV to catch up on Big Brother. So you all will have to lead the way because, well, I haven't seen any shows since I left Atlanta. So I've just been following through what I hear online and what you all are telling me.
Yeah, Amanda's trying to ruin it for me today.
I didn't ruin it, but I was almost late because I had to finish watching it.
Yeah.
No,
It was a
JP, we will never get off your suggestions. We are there permanently.
And then Friday night we have a show as well. So the next 3 nights we have shows. Friday night is the Granite Guardian Gang, and I think we have a great guest out of Atlanta, I think, this week that owns a life safety business. So he's going to talk to us about that. So we'll have that coming up. Yeah, well, I'm going to say I don't know.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. I've got Amanda to protect me. So
we got this.
Yep, you were probably right about that. There are all kinds of special operations down there. So, all right. So, Cheyenne, where are you going to be?
I will be here and on the Thin Line Rock Station next week.
That's going to say you're starting to do my Flashback Fridays while I'm out, right?
Yep.
So you'll have Flashback Friday this week. So, sweet.
Not
by the way.
Not this coming week. It'll be next week. Okay. Yes, I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get all of my stuff set up here because that mic is huge.
Well, all right. Amanda, you got anything special going on, or are you just ready for some Big Brother here soon?
Big Brother, I'm ready, and I will be around listening to you all on the Thin Line Rock radio station.
Make sure you charge your phone.
Yes.
Yes.
Look at this sucker.
Good Lord.
Nice.
That's pretty large. So, did you get a boom arm too?
Yeah, it comes with it.
Ah, all right. Well, you're gonna be a pro here soon, so.
And it's Flashback Friday.
That's right. Flashback Fridays, and you're doing lunch on Mondays still, right?
Yep.
All right. So tune into the Thin Line Rock Station. You can find her there for Friday night, Flashback Friday. And, well, I'll return sometime in the near future. Until then, I'll be in the great white Northern Kingdom.
Darn Yankee.
Thanks for tuning in.